and gentlemen, we move to the first session of the day. Our session is a country-wise Sesame crop review and outlook. This session is sponsored by JKT Group of Companies. Before we begin with this session, we would like to show you a short video on JKT Group of Companies. So ladies and gentlemen, as we move to this session, thank you, it's time for me to briefly talk about our session's chairperson and our panelists. For the ease of everyone that's engaging in this session, including the chair, the panelists and the audience, since this is a long session, we have decided to let every speaker be in the audience and take their time on the podium for their presentations. At the end of all the presentations together, we shall have the panel of speakers along with the chairperson on the stage. Our session, as I said, is a 2024 country-wise Sesame crop review and outlook. This session is chaired by the Executive Director, Seeds and Grains India Private Limited, Mr. Sandeep Bhura. Our speakers for this session will be, starting with, from JKT Enterprises, Mr. Kanak Thakker. From TGI Group, Vink Corporation, DMCC, Mr. Sebastian Andrew. From AgroX Gulf-Alfa Group, Mr. Jahid Nagarwala. I also have Mr. Edao Abdi from EPOSPEA, though I'm not sure he's in the hall with us yet. Mr. Mihir Parmar is from Mamta Commodities. Mr. Rakesh Khamuani is from Kanwal Trading Company Private Limited. Mr. Saleh M. Nahdi is from SM Holdings Limited. Mr. Noureldin Omer is from Alfabriga African and Sudan Chamber of Commerce. And Mr. Pietro is from Arbaza Alimentos Ltda. As I invite our first speaker, telling you a little bit about our moderator, about our session's chairperson, Mr. Sandeep Bhura, who will be moderating this session later for us. Mr. Bhura is the Executive Director of Seeds and Grains India Private Limited and a Director of Omer India Trading Company Private Limited, carrying forward a legacy of excellence in international trade that began in 1953. As a fourth generation of the Bhura family in this business, he has been pivotal in expanding the company's operations in processing and warehousing within India while exploring new international territories and investments. Our first speaker for this session will be from JKT Group, the leader, I should say the visionary leader behind the very successful JKT Group that you just saw, Mr. Kanak Thakker. Since 1998, under his guidance, this group has expanded rapidly into international markets, evolving into an export powerhouse with offices across India, Netherlands, UK, Dubai, and with 3 state-of-the-art factories in India. The company now trades in oilseeds, pulses, bulk commodities, and is one of the leading exporters of peanuts from India. And this is a testament to Mr. Thakker's leadership and commitment to excellence. Just one request going out right in the beginning to all our speakers that are coming to the podium for presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to please limit your presentations to 5 minutes. Concluding which, we shall get the entire panel on the stage, which will be led by Mr. Sandeep Bhura. For now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Thakker.
I thank World Sesame Conference to invite me to present on Togo, Burkina Faso Sesame overview. Let me start my presentation. So I'll introduce about JKT Group, summary of crop in 2023. So we are 40 years old company with offices in UK, Netherlands, Dubai, and we also have a plant in India for processing of peanuts and sesame. So currently we have 3 plants, one in Rajkot, one in Bombay, and one in Chennai. So these are the origins from where we supply sesame seed to our customers. So we are present in some origin directly and in some origins through our local partners. So basically sesame seeds from Burkina and Togo, we collectively say the same thing because most of the sesame goes from Burkina to Togo for shipment. There is some small crop in Togo as well, but we collectively call it as a Burkina Togo origin. So this is a summary of the crop for 2023. So last year, the crop, according to our statistics, it was 149,000 tons, and export was around 120,000 tons. In that, China was 104,000 tons around 3,000 tons was to Turkey, and 10 to 12,000 tons to Japan. And price realization average was around 1750 for mix and white is 1780. So this is the last 3 years production from Burkina Faso. In 2021-22, it was 188,000 tons approximate. 22-23, 170, and last year was 149,000 tons approximately. And this year we expect a bigger crop, around 190,000 tons. Why? I will come to that later. Why we expect a better crop is favorable weather. There is adequate rainfall and temperature has been good for sesame growing. Improved farming practices, and there is also demand for Burkina whites, which encourage the farmers to expand the sesame cultivation. And government support also there is in some part of the Burkina Faso there is always a violence, which was a major area for growing white sesame like Fada. But this year we expect that area will have a better crop because there are a lot of changes that government has done. They have banned the growing of tall crop like maize due to security issues because militants used to attack the military from hiding in the crops. So because of that, maize has also been replaced by sesame. So this is what we expect. Area under cultivation is 394,000 hectares. Productivity around 490, 500 kilos per hectare. And total production is 190,000 tons. This is expected production. And this year we expect more whitish sesame coming from conflict areas. As I told that that area is getting better with the farmers are putting more seeds there, and price will depend on the international market because it's too early to say because it starts in October harvest and by November we start the shipment. These are the areas where the sesame is cultivated. There are certain operational issues in Burkina Faso. The biggest challenge is it is landlocked country, so cargo should be transported to the Togo for major Togo Lomé for exports, but there is always a border clearance issue, so it takes time to reach to Togo. Sometimes can be very fast, sometimes can be like we have seen like 20 days also to reach the trucks, and sometimes can be even very faster like 7-8 days. But this is the challenge always has been we have seen. And currency fluctuation. Currency has been fluctuation. I mean, there is CFA fluctuates a lot, so that's also it also is an issue to manage the hedging of the currency and price. And local contracts with suppliers sometimes are concerned because when the market goes up, they come and ask for a higher price. Sometimes even they don't supply. So it becomes very complicated for us. It's too early, as I told you, to determine the price because markets are too dynamic and prices fluctuate daily basis. But we expect this time, it depends all where we will see the bottom with Pakistan big crop. So depends on that, but definitely Togo, Burkina gets premium over Pakistan. If any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kanak Thakker, sir. And I must say a big thank you for setting a great example for our speakers that would be following by sticking to your time limit, sir. It's time for me to invite our next speaker. Mr. Sebastian Andrew is a seasoned professional in the global agribusiness and commodities industry, currently the business manager at Tropical General Investment, which we all know as TGI Group. He leads the sesame seed business at Vink Corporation DMCC, which is a division of TGI and has been pivotal in the market success. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands up for Mr. Sebastian Andrew.
I take this opportunity to congratulate Srivastava and team to organize such a wonderful conference. I represent TGI Group. We mainly export sesame seed from Nigeria. We do natural crushing grade sesame seed, Sortex sesame seed, and Hull sesame seed. The topics which we are going through today is we talk about last season of Nigerian sesame seed and the challenges the Nigerian exporters are facing and the new crop and the outlook of the crop. Over a period of last decade, the Nigerian has increased the crop production and now they're consistently doing over 300,000 tons. Last year, our estimate is they have exported 310,000 tons of sesame seed to different markets. And there's a cultivated area of 1.1 million hectares in Nigeria. We are not seeing much carryover stocks in Nigeria. We expect it was less than 5,000 tons. It's nothing, just with a few crop with a few people. The season started at $750 last year, and we have seen consistently the prices are moving up and down. And if you see the average price range, it was ranging from $1,750 to $1,600. Nigeria, one of the oldest and the regular issue is the congestion at the port, where normally sometimes the cargo takes 30 to 40 days also to get into the port and sail. But we have seen a considerable improvement in this in the last season. Now the cargo is getting into the port in 20 days to 30 days time. This is mainly because of three reasons. One, because the Nigerian authorities have introduced a call-up system where the exporters, once stuff the cargo, they have to report and take a token. And once the port authorities feel it's time to get the cargoes, they call in the containers. This has avoided a lot of congestion in and around Lagos. The second reason is Nigeria has opened up a new port called Lekki. So this is also going to ease the congestion and traffic in Nigeria this year and coming years as well. The third reason is due to the due to the volatility of currency, the import business is not very stable, and the imports to the Nigeria has come down drastically. These are the reasons which made the condition better this year. Currency volatility, this year we have seen Nigerian currency moving up and down. It started at 800, against dollar, it started at 800 naira, it moved up to 1800, and now it's somewhere around 1600 levels. So this has created a lot of troubles to the exporters and the industry. The depreciation of the naira has led to higher cost on fuel and other operation, warehousing, processing charges. When we talk fuel, Nigeria, most of the factories run on generators. So generators are mainly run on fuel. So when the price moves up for fuel, it not only increases the cost of transportation, but also the operational cost of the exporters. The interest rates are moving up. Currently, it's in the range of 30-32% in Nigeria. This affects the borrowing cost of the industry. Now we are just looking at the current season. Sesame seed is mainly grown in two regions. One is northern region, which have Jigawa, Yobe, Bauchi, Kanu type varieties. And the middle belt, we can see Taraba, Benue, Nasrawa, Kogi, Niger type sesame seed. This year, we have seen around 9 to 10% growth in the area of cultivation. It's around 1.2 million hectares of farming. We have not seen any issues in pests or diseases this year. So as of now, the crop is looking healthy. When you look at the weather, we have seen there is a delay of 3 to 4 weeks of rain in the northern region and 2 to 3 weeks of delay in rain in the southern region, which has delayed the sowing of seeds, and which will, in fact, it will reflect on the harvesting as well. So we can expect the crop to be delayed by 2 to 3 weeks from the normal period. So we are expecting a crop size of around 320 to 340,000 tons this year if everything goes well and there is no floods or no rain issues are there. Just 2 days back, there's a reports of floods in Nigeria where some areas have been affected. But unexpected this month also, they're expecting the rains to be more. So we had to wait and see whether it will affect anything on the crop quality or the crop stocks. The new season. See, Nigerian sesame seed is well accepted in most of the markets now. Nigeria is also doing a lot of value addition, like making hull sesame seed, making Sortex sesame seed, even oil crushing also doing in Nigeria. The acceptance of Nigerian sesame seed in all the markets are increasing and getting better. Now we have seen the market prices have dropped. It's coming down as Tarun was explaining. So we are seeing the prices almost reaching the bottom, and looking at the supply and demand in short, we expect the market to be on a stable situation. Thank you, everybody. Wishing you a wonderful season ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sebastian, Andrew. And ladies and gentlemen, I will move on to our next speaker. Mr. Mihir Parmar is a partner at Mamta Commodities LLP, where he specializes as a broker in sesame seeds and peanuts. With over 4 years of experience at Mamta, he has played a pivotal role in growing the company's footprint in the commodities market. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Mihir Parmar.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mihir Parmar from Mamta Commodities. As introduced, I am a broker at Mamta Commodities, and we are mainly dealing into sesame seeds across 3 continents, Africa, Latin America, and the Asian subcontinent. Today I'll be speaking on Indian sesame seeds. So we'll be going over these topics today. So first of all, we have 2 crops in India. One is the summer crop, which comes around June, July, and the winter crop, which comes around October, November. So these are the two crops that we have. The last crop we had was a summer crop, and we had a total of 280,000 metric tons of production, out of which West Bengal was 150,000 metric tons. It's mainly a double skin type variety of sesame seeds used for crushing and hulling. The Gujarat also produces 100,000 metric tons of whitish, black, golden sesame seeds. South India also produces around 25,000 metric tons of whitish and mixed variety of sesame seeds, and few other states around Rajasthan, Maharashtra had produced around 5,000 metric tons of sesame seeds. As compared to last year, the production was slightly lower, let's say around 20 to 30,000 metric tons lower than last year, and the prices have been relatively on the higher level due to that. So the import-export scenario of India. So India has been an importer and exporter of sesame. The production has been on the decline since a few years in India, and due to that there is a reliance on the imports. So it has been fluctuating a lot, but like since the past few years we have been seeing that India has been a consistent importer. And last year the figures are between, as per the financial year, so those are between April of 2023 to March of 2024, so April to March. And last year it was around 128,000 metric tons. So quite a sizable importer of sesame seeds. They import into India, they reprocess it, and they have to export it out. So it's not for domestic consumption. And as we can see, like the export side of things has been quite stable since the past few years. It hasn't been growing or decreasing, but has come into a stable position. And the production side and the export side both have stabilized since the past few years. So the major export markets for India are like Korea, the EU, the US, Russia, Vietnam. So a lot of developed markets are buying the Indian sesame seeds. They are the major consumers of Indian sesame seeds. China usually buys black sesame seeds and small quantities of hulled and natural sesame seeds. If the prices are too low, then they'll take interest in buying Indian sesame seeds, as there is a tariff barrier of around, let's say, 9% in China. So Korea mainly buys through the tender, the general tender and the private tender, Indian sesame seeds, and it has been like fluctuating between 20 to 40,000 metric tons. Since a lot of African participation we have seen into Korea, the stake of Indian sesame seeds has been decreasing actually in Korea. As per EU, due to the ETO issue, the demand in EU for Indian sesame seeds also had gone down, and they were looking for alternate markets. But now we can see, like since the past few years, we have come into a stable position where they are importing around 22 to 27,000 metric tons annually from India. So as I said, like the sowing completes around the mid-August for the winter crop, and the harvesting would start around October with the peak arrival around mid-October. And as we know, like last season, it was the El Nino phenomenon, and it was an exception to the rule that in El Nino we get less rainfall, but last year we had a lot of rainfall, and that completely affected the crop, and the production was not as much as expected. Last year the production was, let's say, around 150 to 170,000 metric tons. This year we have La Nina phenomenon, which is about to set in around September, and it's usually more favorable for the rains, and but majority of the rainfall in India in the monsoon season is around 70% of the rainfall is around July and August. So a late onset of La Nina is expected. If the rainfall extends over to the harvest period, it can cause a lot of damage to the crop. I think this year we are down by 80,000 hectares in sowing. Last year it was 1.135 million metric tons, and this year it's just 1.055 million metric tons as of last week. Majorly, the production would depend on the weather. If we have a favorable weather, the production can cross 200,000 metric tons. But if not, then we'll again get a production around, like, let's say, around 150,000 metric tons this year as well. So operationally, India is one of the more stable countries to operate in. There are not a lot of what you can say challenges as to currency or as to shipments. Most of them are pretty stable and has been very stable for what you can say quite a long time. But due to the Red Sea issue that we've seen recently and the congestion at the Singapore port, the freight rates have been going crazy in India as well. So the freight, which was like, let's say, around $160 per ton for US, has shot around $300, $400 per ton as well recently. So it has gone quite up, and the transit time also has doubled in a lot of areas. Like due to the Red Sea issue, they have to go from the South Africa ports, and it takes around double the time. Let's say 60 days to the EU, and let's say around the same time to the US as well. So as for the trends and outlook. There has been an inconsistent weather, as we have seen in India. The Indian winter crop is mainly dependent on rain-fed, and it mainly depends on how the weather is during the time of harvest. If there is a lot of rain, then the crop gets washed away, and we see a very poor quality and quantity as well. And India is now in a what you can say, shifting process between shifting its production mainly from, let's say, a winter crop to a summer crop, which is the irrigated farming that we have in India. And the irrigated farming definitely gives a better yield, much consistent supply, and better remuneration for the farmers as well. So in a lot of states, we are seeing there are progress being made in terms of shifting the crop from the winter crop to the summer crop. And India would continue to take support of imports to meet its international demands due to lower production, as we have much more demand than we have the production for. And the government organization in India, like IOPPC, have also been taking measures to safeguard the trade and remove the trade barriers. They have been pushing for increase in production in India, so we have better prices and be more competitive at the global stage. So that's it for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mihir Parmar. It's time for me to invite our next speaker. I could say our next speaker is a pioneer of sorts, because he was literally the first person who started talking about Pakistan origin sesame at international forums. The director of Kanwal Trading Company Private Limited and Kanwal Trading UK Limited, one of the first ones to take up the cause of Pakistan origin sesame seeds at international forums, particularly in China. He understood that China is the largest importer for sesame seeds, and they can logistically gain more advantage from Pakistan in the sesame seed trade. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands up for Mr. Rakesh Pal Khamuani.
Thank you very much. You have been a very wonderful master of the ceremony today. And with this, I would like to request you that there's a lot of pressure on me because I come from Pakistan, and right now your keynote speaker said twice that Pakistan is an important trade right now in terms of sesame seed. So I would request you to please give me some little more time than 5 minutes, please. I will try to wind up in 5 minutes, but if 1 or 2 minutes, please allow me. Okay, Tarunji? Thank you. My name is Rakesh Khamuani, and I'm the director of Kanwal Trading Company Private Limited. Before I start my presentation, I would like to read the disclaimer that all this research and information is on personal on personal opinions and personal information that I provide. It does not give any business decisions to anybody, neither it represents any organization. Before we move on to sesame seed, let me talk about currency situation in Pakistan, because currency plays a very important role in any trade. Pakistan has been stable for quite a good number of months, I would say. In terms of currency, it is stable. It was very volatile and fluctuating in the previous years, which made it difficult for trade, specifically sesame seed, when it is a higher price commodity. The domestic market changes rapidly when the currency depreciates. And it takes some time to match the international levels when the Pakistani currency depreciates, to match the price in the international levels for sesame seed and other commodities as well. I would like to discuss previous year's crop. We saw a very good year in terms of production, in terms of quality. We saw about 200 to 25,000 to 235,000 metric tons, which is considered one of the largest in the history of Pakistan, with an average yield of 400 kg per acre. Sorry. Pakistan exports 85 to 95%, and then rest is consumed locally. Due to the higher price last year, the consumption was declined, and 95% of the total crop was exported. Average price, I would say, could be 1700, like 1675 to 1725. 1700 could be a good average price last year for Pakistan. There are two provinces mainly which cultivate Pakistan sesame seed. One is Punjab and one is Sindh. Punjab produces the most with the 75% of the total quantity, and then Sindh contributes 25%. Both the provinces have diverted into a hybrid variety of seeds. Previously, it was different months in a year for the production, but then now both the provinces harvest during the same months, which is August and September. There are some areas which are black-brown in Punjab, and then some areas are Desi type in Sindh province. Overall, quantity and quality were seen good last crop year. Some inferior and high moisture seeds were reported in the first phase of harvest, which is of course due to the rains and the water. Monsoon was end of July last year, was a very good weather for production. It was supportive. There was some damage in the Satluj river. It was a river floods. So there was a little damage which was calculated in that area, specific area. I will try to show you. Yep, I have this. If you see Satluj river, and then you see Bawal Nagar over here, this was the damaged area in the Punjab province last year. It has a lot of river floods. I would not take a lot of time on this. Okay, so this is a comparison of the last 5 years of export. Since the zero tariff 2020, we have seen increase in the exports and also in the productions. If you see 2019, 2020, hardly 16,000 tons, which at that time there was no zero duty with China, and then in 2020 it started, and then you can see the the number of exports is growing. 220,000 tons were exported last year. So this is the 95% of the total crop. This is just a comparison of 4 years of export. If you see September is a very important month in terms of shipments from Pakistan because August, September is the crop months, and then September is the month where we get most of the shipments done. It's been consistent in all the last 4 years. But there is some variations in the graphs. I would not take a lot of time here and move on, please. Yeah. This is just a comparison of different exporting countries. China, of course, is contributing 76% of the Pakistan sesame seed exported to China. And then 7% is the border trade with Iran, 12% is the rest of the countries during the last year. And we can see 2021, 2022, 74%, 2022, 2023 is 55%, 2020 and 2021 is 51%. So I don't know whether you can make decisions for the next year by looking at this graph. Countries that Pakistan exports sesame seed are mainly China, and then border trade with Iran. And there are some European countries like Greece, Poland, Netherlands, Germany, Middle Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, Jordan, UAE, and other countries like Turkey, sometimes Canada, USA is also, Pakistan is also exporting to these countries. Oh, the toughest one. Before I give you the number or anything, I would like to give you some insights on the next year's crop, which is the most important one. The areas have increased, and on the calculations of areas and the yield that we see normally in Pakistan, the expectations were more than 450,000 tons of crop. So the rumors that you hear and different people talking 500,000 tons, 400,000 tons, 450,000 tons are actually correct because the areas have increased, and then if you calculate on the yield basis, there was a chance to have this production. Every year the area have increased since 2020 because of the zero tariff. Twice a year I get this question from the chair who asks the question in the panel that will the area in Pakistan or the sesame production in Pakistan increase? And I always say yes, it will increase if they have the opportunity to trade. Normally on an average, sesame seeds needs about 100-120 days to get mature and get ready to harvest. Seeds are collected when dried after the third irrigation. That's a normal process in Pakistan at the time of flowering, considering that the weather is good. In few areas, seeds get started to harvest during the months of July. If I talk about 2024, 2025, which was before monsoon, and the seeds were not mature enough, and the yield was seen less. There was no strength in the seeds, and due to heat, I can say damaged seeds. At the time of second irrigation, this was done. So the temperatures went up to 52 degrees Celsius. On a normal, the temperatures are between 35 to 40, and then the yields can be seen good. But if the temperature goes more higher and the crop is getting heat, the yields can be affected. Most areas are increased in the Punjab province with hybrid type, and we will see major harvest and production in the Punjab province. Sindh province have started producing hybrid seeds since last year. Last year was the first year when Sindh adopted the seed from Punjab province, and then they had a very good harvest. Unfortunately, this year, we would see Sindh will compromise on sesame seed crop. And this has been discussed with the farmers, with the traders, with the local people over there in the Sindh province. 80% of the Sindh crop has been wiped off in the river floods. So we will not see a production in the Sindh province this year. If we see any production in the Sindh province this year, it would be bad quality or inferior seeds, or I would say immature seeds. There are chances that some of the good qualities, 2 to 3%, would be seen from Sindh, but most of it is damaged and wiped off in river floods. And this is an accurate news up to today. So this is just to give you the area in the Sindh which is affected badly with the river floods. I don't know how to point out. If you see Indus River, this is important. So if you see Indus River, so Punjab, there are 5 rivers coming, and then it is connecting to the one river Indus in Sindh province. So if you see Larkana, Dadu, Moro, this whole area has been river flooded, and most of the production is done in this area. I have been called, so I'm not going to take much time in this, but this is very important to know. I can understand that there has been disturbance in the sesame seed trade due to market sentiments and the crop size in Pakistan. However, we are still unsure on the exact situation due to weather conditions. It is hard for me to give any number on the total production based on the circumstances we have now. There are many different news and views. Could be correct, could be incorrect. I cannot answer on those. After the detailed discussion, research, and studies, what we have found is, according to my personal research and information gathered, the crop year 2024-2025 could be estimated 350 to 375,000 metric tons with an average yield of 240 kg per acre. This is the lowest yield that we have seen in a decade in Pakistan. It will be considered biggest crop in the history of Pakistan if this is done. Can this estimated crop size of Pakistan sesame seed change? Yes, it can. There are still rains today while I'm presenting, which are predicted until first week of September. So the weather is playing a very important role in Pakistan right now. Some domestic news, exports, factors of trade in Pakistan and outside Pakistan for the crop year 2024-2025. Overall quantity and quality both might be compromised due to weather conditions. It seems farming production is discouraged due to less price advantage to the farmers. Quality is the key, which I believe. Damage to the quality might lead to less exports from Pakistan. A good thing is that there are many new exporters interested in sesame seeds in Pakistan, which is very good news, and there are a lot of people showing interest in the trade. Hulled is exported about 7 to 10%, so I had a question from this table that how much is Hulled exported. It's about 7 to 10% of the total exports from Pakistan. This number was very small 3 years before. The potential gap is slowly being fulfilled. European Union, Middle East countries, USA, Canada are now expecting Pakistani Hulled sesame seed. There are also organic farms and soils tested and facilities for exports of Hulled sesame seed and natural sesame seed both. This number can increase in the coming years. And there is a lot of other value addition being done, which is sesame paste and tahini. And it has already been started in Pakistan. Due to FTA agreement zero duty in 2020, China has been the most important country for sesame seeds exports from Pakistan. China will always have quick transit advantage from Pakistan. Today, Pakistan has reached $385,000 million of export of sesame seed, and it has potential to reach up to $500,000. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry. The FTA for sesame seeds have been beneficial for both the countries, and I remember presenting first time about Pakistan sesame seed and telling people that it has a tariff on China, and then going out and working for that. It was a difficult challenge at that time, but now we can see that Pakistan is discussed everywhere, and it is considered one of the important trades for sesame seed. Thank you very much for your time and listening, and I'm very sorry for little delay. Very sorry about that. There is one announcement that I want to make. We have come up with an association, and it is a matter of time. It is in demand. We needed this association for Pakistan, and later we will talk about that in Pakistani session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rakesh Pal, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report that we have with us Mr. Jahid Nagarwala in the house. So I would like to invite him on the podium for his time, the director of Alpha Group, AgroX Gulf, which is one of the biggest African ground level processor and exporter of sesame food, groundnut pulses and other agricultural commodities from Agriland, Mozambique, Tanzania, Sudan, Togo, Benin and Nigeria. Mr. Nagarwala, you have 5 minutes on the podium, sir, and later, of course, the full panel on the stage.
First of all, thank you. Thank you very much, World Sesame and Peanut Conference, for this wonderful opportunity to give my view on Mozambique sesame. As you all aware, Mozambique is very interesting sesame origin since long. So I'm going to give you a little highlight on current year crop of Mozambique sesame 2024, which is on the last phase of this ending crop 2024. As you already got our introductions, we are Alpha Group. We are doing sesame peanuts pulses since past 20 years from Mozambique, Tanzania, Sudan, Togo, Benin, and from Nigeria. These are the Mozambican production area in the central zone and north zone. The richest area is Balama, Montepesh, Shuri, Namapa, Namyalu, and in central zone is Ekaya, Buzi, Gorongosa, Murumbala. This is the main area which are producing the rich quality of sesame and rich quantity. The maximum, I think, 90% of the productions came from these areas. If you talk about the current year highlights, this year we are expected production is near about 110 to 125,000 tons, which is better than last year's and even better than benchmark crop of every year. As earlier we was expecting that Mozambique is seated on a good numbers of production, and finally Mozambique has performed very well in terms of volume and in terms of quality of the sesame. This year sesame started little early. Normally starts in June, but this year it was started in the month of the May with good force in all of the areas. Beginning, it was traded near about 1780 to 1750 CF level in forward trades in the month of April. And it was traded lowest in 1450 level in the month of July. On the ground level, if you talk, it was traded near about 98 meticais to 103 meticais per kg for the Beira or Nakala delivery, which are the most attractive price for Mozambique sesame and of course for Mozambican farmers. On ground level, it was traded lowest near about 68 meticais per kg. So if we see the fall of the Mozambican price in the month of April, it was 1780. In the month of the May, it reached near about 1650. During June, it reached 1550, and during the month of the July, it was traded 1450. Even we got news that some exporters even traded 1420, 1430 level. And again, in the month of August, it recovered to trade near about 1540, 1420 level CF China level. So if you see, that's a huge fall of the price. So everybody we have a questions. What happened to Mozambique? So during the harvest, the fall of the $300, $350, it's not natural. It's everybody is doing this question. So what we studied, during the harvest of Mozambique sesame, there was a news spreading that Pakistan's upcoming crops are very huge. People was talking about 400,000 or 500,000. Sometimes some people was talking even 600,000 tons of Pakistan sesame. And that news affected the buyer sentiment. And as we know, the sentiments are always important for our trade. So buyer was not in the mood to book more forward. Once a time in July, there was no buyer at all for the Mozambique sesame. So, and we can say that during our full harvest, Mozambique sesame market was ruled by Pakistan's upcoming crop news. Now, if you see what's happening now in Mozambique, the current week, the Mozambique crop almost finished. Most of the area, there is no arrival or very few arrivals. Most of the cargo are either in the hand of exporter or in the hand of the small traders. Farmers are holding a very few stock, or almost we can say there is a no stock. And most of the sesame, whatever the remaining there in Mozambique, are under the process of cleaning or either in the process of export process. Another very important point which I want to point it out, same as last year, the Mozambique local market, the main player was Chinese origin companies. Chinese origin companies, they performed very well in Mozambican local market, and most of this Mozambican sesame was bought and exported by Chinese origin peoples. Beside this huge price fall, overall Mozambique sesame was happy for farmers and for the local traders, except then exporters. That's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nagarwala. For now, it's time for me to introduce our next speaker. The chairman of SM Holdings, Mr. Saleh Nahdi, is a highly esteemed business leader and chairman bringing over 20 years of unparalleled experience in the trading of agricultural commodities out of Africa. As a founder of SM Holdings, Mr. Nahdi has established and grown the business across 5 African countries: Tanzania, Uganda, Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And his visionary leadership has not only broadened the geographical reach, but also solidified him as a key player in the agricultural industry on the continent. Please put your hands up for Mr. Saleh Nahdi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Before we get started, I just wanted to say, if this presentation had a cover charges, I'd be richer than Bill Gates. It's a joke. Unfortunately, it's free, and so is the advice you are about to hear. So take it with a pinch of sesame seeds. On a more serious note, before we dive to today's presentation, I must give a quick disclaimer. Neither I nor SM Holdings can be held liable to any losses incurred based on the information shared on or the views expressed here today. So please enjoy the presentation, but remember, the real world is a bit more unpredictable than this slideshow. Today, I will be guiding you through several critical aspects of Tanzanian sesame seed market. We'll cover sesame cultivation and production trends, Key varieties of sesame, their primary export destination, the challenges and opportunity in the market, and finally, some important questionnaires to consider. Let's get started. Tanzania is renowned to producing three main varieties of sesame seeds: South Premium, Whitish, and Mixed. Each has its own unique characteristics and market demands. Sesame is primarily cultivated in Tanzania's southern, western, and central region, where the climate is ideal for sesame farming. The marketing season for Tanzania sesame typically runs from late May to August, aligning with the region's weather pattern and the crop's natural growth cycle. The production trend. Between 2019 and 2020, sesame production in Tanzania saw a steady growth, peaking at 160,280 metric tons in 2020. 2021, however, production experienced a slight decline due to various factors, including weather conditions and shifting market dynamic. Despite these challenges, the future looks promising. Looking ahead, projections suggest a rebound in production, with estimate prediction that total sesame output to 184,000 tons by 2024 season ends. Well, key sesame varieties. South Sesame, a popular variety, a distinct whitish color and bold flavor profile. This variety is in high demand in China. Whitish Sesame. Prized to its lighter hull and delicate taste, this variety is particularly popular in Turkey. Mixed Sesame, a blend of different sesame types primarily used for crushing. This variety is highly sought after in Japan. Tanzania sesame export destination, China. China remains the largest export market for Tanzania sesame, accounting for over 80% of total exports. Japan and Turkey. Japan and Turkey are also significant buyers, collectively making up about 15% of Tanzania sesame exports. We have emerging markets. Emerging markets such as Middle East are gradually gaining traction and helping diversify Tanzania customer base. Producing regions. Regions like Lindi, Kilwa, and Mtwara are major hubs for sesame production, especially for the well-known South Sesame variety. Southwestern Tanzania. The southwestern region, including Mbeya and Songwe, also contribute significantly to Tanzania's sesame output. The region produces whitish sesame. Central region. The warm, semi-arid climate of central region like Dodoma, Morogoro, and coastal offer optimal conditions for sesame cultivation. This region produces mixed sesame. Challenges. Sesame production, okay, that is our sesame production. Tanzania sesame exporters often face logistic challenges such as container shortages and port congestion, which requires careful planning and coordination. Government intervention. The government continues to push for an expansion of the auction system across all regions, which affects the trading dynamics of sesame seeds. Currently, regions such as Dodoma and Morogoro are partially integrated into the auction system, and there are indications that more regions will soon follow. Chinese importers in Tanzania. One notable trend is the increasing participation of Chinese importers directly into the Tanzania auction system. This development raises questions about the future role of traditional exporters, as Chinese buyers are now sourcing directly and shipping cargo to China. Sesame market outlook. The bullish factors. From September 2024, we expect a bullish trend driven by increased La Nina risk, which could lead to flooding and crop damages in key sesame growing regions. Political conflicts in the Red Sea region could also push freight rates higher and disrupt supply chain. While Sudan supply remains uncertain, Ethiopia output shows modest improvement and West Africa supplies are just starting to enter the market. Perish. On the other hand, global sesame crop outlooks are mixed. While Mozambique and India anticipate decent harvest, Pakistan expects a strong output. This increased supply, coupled with the anticipated crop from Brazil and Turkey, could put downward pressure on prices, bearing in severe weather disruption. Overall outlook. Overall, while there is potential for price reduction due to increased global supply, adverse weather conditions could still change this outlook dramatically. Conclusion. In conclusion, the sesame market is a dynamic landscape with numerous factors at play. While we are optimistic about Tanzania's sesame future, it's crucial to stay vigilant and adapt to changing conditions. Thank you for your attention, and looking forward for any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saleh Nahdi, sir, for your time on the podium. Our next speaker, over the past decade, he has lived and worked across the US, China, South Korea, Hong Kong and Brazil, adeptly navigating diverse markets and industries. Presently as sales manager at Arbaza Alimentos Ltda, he focuses on expanding Brazilian agri-producers globally. Please put your hands up for Mr. Pietro Schisler.
Very briefly, 中国的朋友们呢，我今天大部分的人来的都是外国人，所以我想跟你们说英语。好的，谢谢。So, being the last one coming on the stage to talk, kind of also represents the industry because Brazil is kind of the last country to have joined the crown. So, we are here to give you context. Start with context, starting with the company and context on who we are, and I'll follow this with a context on what Sesame is in Brazil, where we came from, where we are currently, and where we think we are going. With this said, I'll give you a little context on the company called Arbaza, which we're here to tell you a little bit about one today. We are a company of sesame and pulses. We started with pulses. Not a lot of companies started with sesame. It's still very recent. And just to touch bases here, and pulses, we are a group. Amongst the company, we have a #1 packaging of pulses company in Brazil. which does 30,000 tons of sesame every month. And that does tell you that we are a big company, but it also tells you how big the domestic market for that is, because that only represents 14%. But you're not here for that, you're here for sesame, and that is not the same reality for sesame. Sesame domestically is very small, and it's something that has been growing for exports for the past 5 years. And while it's grown, we have 24 companies, 24 factories in the country, and only 5 for sesame. However, 6 years ago, we had no sesame factory in Brazil. Orange, I'm sure everybody understands what orange is, and orange are the sesame-only companies which are closer to the growing areas. So when you see the orange spaces, those are sesame growing areas in Brazil, including the one in the upper north, which is already in the northern hemisphere. So we are literally growing sesame in both hemispheres as we speak. Still trial and error, some areas are better than the others. And to give you context on the size, one factory on the north to the factory in the south is 4,500 kilometers in distance. These are some of the images of the factories. Those are all sesame only. The silos that you see on the right are all climatized with air conditioning silos storing all the seeds. So we have all these machine harvests, segregated window lines, and kept in air conditioning silos between 14 and 15 and 16 degrees Celsius so that the FFA acidity doesn't change. Let's talk about the areas of the sesame. Now, taking this on me, this slide is not the most updated. So to my Brazilian colleagues, don't be mad at me. The cycle that you see there, and the pointer is not working, but you need to pull that a little southeast a little bit. So you need to bring that a little southeastern more a little bit. Now, we harvest between July and August, expanding into September. And the reason expanding into September is because there are areas now going up north. And the norther you go, the later you harvest. So it's very common that you hear some player can have all of their crop harvest in August. Some could even have it, depending on the year, everything harvested by July, but there will still be harvesting happening depending on the area that that specific player is. Because the northern we go, the later the weeks is going to harvest. But 90% of those, if not 95%, we don't know the specifics for this year yet, will be one kind of sesame only, which is called K3. And K3 is 100% machine harvest. There are a lot of rumors in the industry ever since we started 5 years ago that FFA is high and FFA is not good. This has fortunately, anyone who's importantly can testify for it. FFA has been reducing and reducing and reducing every year. And that has been happening because farmers are learning how to do it, exporters are learning how to treat it, silos are getting more technological, bags are getting better, and combined of those informations are giving us harvests right now when the FFAs are being harvested at 0.3, 0.4, arriving at destinations way below 2%. So whether you consider that high or not, we for sure do not. Also, we do white sesame and black sesame. However, black sesame has been decreasing and decreasing and decreasing every year. As right now, late August, we are still harvesting, so I cannot give you a figure of what is the current crop going to be, or the total estimate, or do we have any black sesame. So far, everything is still up for grabs. This is usually where the beginning of next semester is usually where we have the specifics numbers for it. This is where we came from. Now, you can see that where all of the other countries that have just spoken were already exporting and having traditions, and a lot of you are probably doing sesame even before Brazil even ate sesame. We are a new player, but that's no surprise. What is a surprise, however, is that we have learned how to do it fast, which is something that we as Brazilians are very proud of. We have very good farmers with 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 acre lands with a lot of technology, and once they put their eyes and targets onto something, they do it. Also exporters, bet Marbaza into it with the guts to go and finance all of these farmers to develop and increase something new. With this said, 18, 19, 2,000 tons exported, nothing. 1920, 21, which was a lot back then. And then boom, it exploded, fourfold. India opened on that year. India and Brazil had an agreement, then India started imported, they liked the product, they started bringing it. But then after India started imported, other countries jumped into the game. And that's when you have ups and downs. Not every year is the same because it's not up to, like you probably know, the buying side, but it also has to do with the domestic side more than anything. Like Tarun said, the 5 C's, I'm going to use 4. What is the currency? What is the competition in culture? And how is the climate? Farmers will have options. When we go and talk to them, they will ask us, and they will do their math in their heads. Am I going to do sorghum, millet, corn, popcorn, millet, low technological corn? Am I just going to do covering? Do I have the right window? Do I have the right time? Do I have the right seed? Have I seen sesame before? A lot of these people have never seen it. Now, 6 years later, it's starting to change, and this year, it's kind of a threshold, whether they're going to like it or not. So that kind of explains all of this happened. Last year, to keep it closer, we did 115,000 tons, out of which Arbaza, fortunately, did 40% of it, with 47,000 tons of it, being the largest player of exported. That was a lot of work, but that doesn't mean that next year we're going to keep growing like that. We don't know the figures for this year, but yes, it will grow. But it will grow through a combination of things, the price of corn being one of them, a lot of farmers trying to go into a short crop for the second crop. Forgot to mention this. Crop sesame for us is the second crop of the year. So a farm in Brazil, a well-managed farm, will have 3 crops. The first one usually is soya, but it could be any other thing. The second could be corn, could be something else, depending on the region. Sesame has been winning that spot in certain regions. So for next year, remember we did 115,000, so we're thinking this year it's going to double, so that puts us in 230, but it could come to 250. And again, don't quote myself on it. These are all estimates that we're thinking, based on what we see on the land. It hasn't been harvested everything yet, and even the harvest that we saw, we haven't seen exports numbers yet to really pinpoint a number. Domestic consumption is about 15,000, so you have to add that into the math. If you're harvesting, say, let's ballpark the highest number, 250, we have to reduce 15,000. That puts us in 235, and then we have to keep another extra for seeding for the next year. So we're ballparking an exports year of 220 and 235. These are the countries that exports the most. Now, if you skip flag classes, there are India being number 1. Between everything we started, right? So 18 to year to date. India, Guatemala, Turkey, Mexico, Vietnam, and a combination of other countries, who could be anyone from Jordan to the Middle East to other Central American countries. The big elephant in the room, well, China has now opened to Brazil. We do not know if and when it will ever happen. We definitely hope it does, but not every year we count on it. But we sure hope it does. So we know things that will not change. Brazilian sesame will continue to be harvested by machine. It's just more efficient this way. That's how we know how to do it. The lands are just too big for any other production. The big question mark is what's going to happen in the future. What we hope could happen will be China to open. Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing your questions later on. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pietro Schizler. And I'm sure the final slide, the question that you have posed, the right people are sitting right in the front listening to your question. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to invite this entire esteemed panel onto the stage as our session's chairperson not only gives his comments on the entire presentations that have been given away so far, but also gets to not only just steer the discussion ahead along with question and answers. It is time to take the best of the entire presentations that have been presented thus far. I would like to start inviting on the stage, and all of you can walk up together. By then our stage would be ready. The session is being chaired by the Executive Director, Seeds and Grains India Private Limited, Mr. Sandeep Bhura. Our speakers have been Mr. Kanak Thakker, Mr. Sebastian Andrew, Mr. Jahid Nagarwala, Mr. Mihir Parmar, Mr. Rakesh Pal Khamuani, Mr. Saleh Nahdi, and Mr. Pietro Shizler. Ladies and gentlemen, as I leave them on the stage for the next segment of the session, once again reminding you, the Slido QR code was shown to you on the screen. I'm sure you have given your questions up there. Now shortly the chairperson will be driving this session ahead and would try to answer as many questions and deliberate on them as possible.
After all the beautiful presentation, it's the time to do the hard work. So we need to know exactly what is happening in each country. I would like to start with Sebastian. Sebastian, if you see, generally speaking, 5 years behind, Nigeria used to sit at a very nice place. After Tanzania, Mozambique finished in July, you used to come in October, ruling the world. Now things have changed drastically. You're coming with crop from Brazil, Pakistan, prices below 1200 levels. What's going in your mind, and what do you think will happen in Nigeria?
Yeah, we have seen prices have dropped, and for Sesame prices anywhere in the range of 1100, 1200, 1300. It's a very comfortable prices for across the trade for the importing countries as well as the exporters. When price goes below 1200, 1100, it starts resistance from the farmer side and other origin side. So these prices looks very interesting to both parties or across the industry. And that's why in my presentation I mentioned that the prices looks, in short, it looks very stable. So it's a good position now.
Yep. So the question is, 1200 levels, do you think Nigeria will be ready to sell at such prices?
See, as we've seen in August, Mozambique has sold 1450. At the same time, when we are offers at 1200 also. So it really depends on what the customer want to buy and what I want to pay.
Correct. Okay. Next question for Zahid bhai. Zahid bhai, in your presentation, I saw one thing. You showed that the prices have been falling ever since. But in the month of August, the prices have increased. Any particular reason for that?
Hello, Sandeep. Yeah, that's, as I said, that Mozambique whole harvest was ruled under the news of Pakistan production. Not actually the production, but the news of the production. So again in the August, so there was, people was thinking that Pakistan have some weather issue, maybe production will be lower or quality of the production. So that's again changed the moods and started recovering the price. In month of July, the buyer was waiting to get a new bottom level. They want the buy, but they was waiting to get a bottom. And
everybody
August,
is looking for the lowest price. Sabko niche bhav chahiye.
That's a fact. But when there is a gap, like if there is a crop harvesting, so exporter must have to sell. But when there was no buyer, or buyer was just on the backside, he was just waiting. So it's a panicking situation for the exporters.
Okay. Next question for Kanak bhai. Kanak bhai, the origins that you talked about, Burkina, Mali, they have become a very big edible grade suppliers to the world. When I say edible grade, more whitish, or processing, Sortex quality. So I would like to know the quantum of whitish sesame that is available in that part of the world, and is there any increase in the processing and sortex facilities there?
So yeah, people are investing in Sortex, but in this area, the main problem is Mali side cargo comes as a mix. So every year it depends how is the political situation in east side like Fada where the white sesame comes. So it all depends, but mostly what we see is the white is going down. But people are investing money for Sortex. Like this year we expect a better crop from the area where whitish come. So then it works. Okay, and it is also very good demand in Japan for Sortex quality of Burkina Faso. So yeah, people are putting and getting good premium also. If I'm not mistaken, even people are making Sortex nowadays in Mozambique also for export to Japan. So yeah, people are putting investment, but it varies. But if you see quantum, I think it would be say 170,000 tons, 70,000 to 80,000 tons whitish is possible to come. Yeah.
So next question to Pietro. We saw your journey from 1,000 tons to over 250,000 tons from Brazil. So my question is, at current price levels, do you think it would be feasible to plant sesame vis-a-vis the other crops that we have, say sub 1,200 bracket?
For the next year?
Yeah, coming.
Okay. It's a little early for me to answer that. Reason being, we are not yet going on the stage where the farmer is waiting for us to negotiate with him what he's going to do with the second crop. This said, when that time comes, a lot of things for the farmer side will have to be considered. What are my other options being number one? If corn prices continue to be this low, maybe sesame will be one of the options. And then second is, am I going to go for sesame, then which variety of sesame? Do I have the seeds? Do I have the support with chemicals, know-how, and agricultural knowledge to do it? And if the exporter is able to provide all of that within the right price that would cover for his window of the second crop, then I'll say it's still considered to be feasible. But it's this year alone in 2024, the currency is devalued at 20%. If it happens again next year, but on the opposite, then it may change everything. To the point that exporters may start having washouts and all of that. But we don't wish that to happen, but things like that could happen. And I don't see a scenario where that will happen because it's never happened that way, on the opposite, unfortunately for some people.
What would be the percentage of black sesame or a quantum that you couldn't say out of the total?
2 years ago, when we did 95,000 tons, black sesame estimate, and this again is a guesstimate because there's no different HS code for it.
Correct.
Was only 2,000 to 3,000 tons.
Okay.
And I haven't seen much black sesame since after that. So if it's still there is something like that, would be around that. I'll say less than 5,000.
Okay. And how does it work there in Brazil? I mean, do you replace the seed or you use the same seed that you that you grow this year? You'll be using them next year for planting.
That is a good question that I do not know how to answer, unfortunately, because I'm not on the growing side, and I'm not in that part.
Okay.
I'm sure some of my colleagues will better know how to answer that for you.
Okay, thank you. So next question is for Mihir. Mihir, we talked about the summer crop in India is growing every year. So is it confined to a one part or it is increasing to other parts of the world? I mean, other parts of the country?
Yeah, so currently summer crop is majorly grown in the Gujarat state of India, but there have been efforts made to increase the production of the summer crop, the irrigated farming in states like Madhya Pradesh, states like Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. So those states like IOPPC, our council has been holding up fairs, farmer fairs for the farmers to educate them on how to grow the sesame, which they know how to grow in the winter during the winter crop, but in irrigated fields in the summer crop as well, like how to, what you can say, develop those areas. They are trying to develop those areas and increase the production in those, because the yields in the past few years, as we have seen, have been quite terrible actually. Like it used to be like 220 to 140 kgs per hectare, which is quite less as compared to the irrigated, which we can see around like 800 to 1100 kgs per hectare.
Okay, and would you have any idea on the importing quantity of Brazilian sesame into India?
For this year?
Brazilian sesame imports.
For this
figure.
year? I think my estimate would be it should be around like 45 to 55,000 India might be importing. That's a ballpark figure again. But as per like current talks with industry participants, I think that should be more or less about it. Maybe like going ahead, if the prices are getting attractive in Brazil, and seeing at the scenario of the winter crop in India, if the yields are not good and the production is not good, maybe a second round of buying could come possibly, but it's still too early to say.
Okay, thank you. So next question would be for Rakesh. Rakesh, we used to have two qualities of sesame coming, Fermi and hybrid. Now it is mostly hybrid. Now it is hybrid good quality and hybrid inferior quality. The problem is with the inferior quality coming in the market, this will also push down the prices for the good quality. With already prices below 1200 levels we are hearing, what do you think it will boil down to?
So your exact question that I have taken is, do we have Farmi, inferior hybrid, and hybrid?
Yeah,
Okay. In my personal view, there shouldn't be any inferior or a lower grade quality for export purposes. What people have understood is the immature seeds or the seeds that are damaged, they call them an inferior quality. But there is no on a specific term in a sales contract or a business which says inferior quality sesame seed. It is either was hybrid. Many people were buying Sindh type because it comes from a Sindh province, hybrid type because it was coming from Punjab province. But when it was shipped and people find differences in the qualities, they name it as an inferior quality or a lower grade quality.
No, the question is whether Pakistan, you mean to say Pakistan will only be shipping high quality cargo?
I'm not saying, I'm not guaranteeing that.
Okay.
I'm just... What I'm saying is, previously there used to be a hybrid, but now it is converted into Farmi. It is converted into... Previously there used to be Farmi, now it is converted into hybrid. Okay? The reason is because hybrid is mostly acceptable. Farmi was not acceptable due to lower oil and more FFA, acid value. And also the farmers are clever enough to understand that there is a price difference in both. So they would rather do the sowing for hybrid than farming.
Okay. So next question for Sebastian. Sebastian, how Nigeria is dealing with the pesticide issues faced for their exports to Japan and hull sesame to Europe? Is there any mechanism in place?
There is no special mechanism. We can find across Africa, you find pesticides. So one way of doing is we constantly map the regions which we find less pesticide, and to the countries which need pesticide-free cargo, we ship from those regions. Then we also do pre-shipment testing. So only these methods we can use to contain the pesticide issue. Otherwise, on a farming practices, it's not very easy to change any farming practices. But we encourage the farmers, the new farmers in new regions, we encourage them to have a better farming practices.
Okay, thank you. So next question for Mr. Nahdi. Sir, in your country, we have seen a very stable crop for sesame for last couple of years. I mean, what are you guys doing to increase the productivity, or you think this is the maximum level that we can come down to?
My opinion that sesame will be increasing year to year. This is due to the price factor, and especially for the Chinese investors coming into Tanzania, buying directly from the farmers through the auction, which will push the price to a better level understanding to the farmers, will encourage farmers to grow more. We have more regions now coming with sesame seeds, which we did not have in the previous, like southern western areas. We're seeing them coming up with big volumes, and hopefully for next year, we'll have more volume.
So next question is for Rakesh, Sebastian, and Pietro. What are your expectations for the prices to reach around $1,100? What do you think?
We should start from Brazil.
Doesn't matter.
To reach which price? No expectation and no foreseeable future from my end for that.
From Nigeria.
The Nigerian season is not yet started. The crop flow will come by end of September. So it's too early to make a price
just
statement.
a guesstimate, I know. Nothing has started, nothing has been shipped.
See, if you look at the current costing of what Taraba is coming, it's around close to $1,350, $1,400 levels
Today. But it's
And
unsellable.
Yes, but the cargo flow is just started. That's what I'm saying. We have to just wait for and see how the international market is getting adjusted.
Right.
It has to flow with the market flow.
To be very honest with you, I just want people to be, what I can say is, make sesame seed affordable. So I'm not a big fan of, increasing prices for no reason and also decreasing prices for no reason. I want prices to be acceptable for every trade.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea is everybody should make money, be it the farmer, the trader, the exporter, or the.
So this is my idea. I cannot give you a number that what number it should be, but it should be acceptable for the buyer and profitable for the seller.
Yep. Basically, my idea is for sesame, if it's affordable and it reaches every corner of the world, it'll, our demand will increase. For that, we don't have to look at the price, increasing the price every day. Rather than that, if we all focus on the, increase in yield per hectare or acre, whatever you do, so that'll help us to.
Pakistan is focusing on area and production.
No, main is area is going to be fixed after certain years.
You are right, but it should be on a level to compete with international markets.
Correct.
So the areas are increasing, the production is increasing, but the disturbance in the market created because the prices are going down.
Yeah.
And I would not specifically blame on Pakistan. The reason is that it's just the sentiments. So if there is one buyer, there are 10 sellers from Pakistan. So it's just a sentiment of demand and supply.
Correct. So I think it's a final question. We are short of time today. So final question, I would request Kanak bhai also to pitch in for this. I mean, Kanak bhai and Mihir both. So, you know, India has been consistently hovering around an export of around 220,000 tons to 25,000 tons, in spite of having very bad no crop also. So, this has been, it has been really challenging for the industry in India, but we have survived through it. So, a few thoughts on that.
I think India has been exporting sesame seeds since, I don't know, since my grandfather's uncle's time. I don't know, it has been like a really long time, and India, I think, is here to stay. I don't think so, it's irreplaceable in the sesame world, even though we have a decreased production from let's say 700, 800,000 metric tons to right now around 500,000 metric tons in a year at max. There is support from what you can say the importer, and still the operation challenges are not so much in India. It's feasible for India to import and export efficiently. They know how to do it. They have been doing it for quite some time now, and I don't think so. I think things would get better for Indian sesame from here on, because I think it has already reduced to a great extent, but I think now it has found some stability.
Yeah, it has been very challenging for India sesame market, especially to export. But you see, our Indian people are very proactive, and they understand sesame processing, and also requirement of customers. So they import sesame. They know which sesame to use for which market. For example, when they bring Brazil sesame, they hull and they sell to the markets like Vietnam or Russia, where no pesticide issues are there. They bring from Africa, they hull and sell to US, Europe. So they have been knowing how to manage the things, which has, that's a reason it has kept the figures almost stable. If this must have not been done, I believe it must have dropped to 100,000 something. So I think it is because of our understanding of sesame, we were able to maintain the same figure of exports.
I think that's about it. Time doesn't allow any more questions for you guys. So thank you all so much. So I think it's what I said last time when I was here, it's a perfect sesame year. At that time, it was a different scenario. Why it is still a sesame year? Because it's still very unpredictable, prices very low. All the crops, the weather very unpredictable, and demand hovering around with different parts being disturbed by war or economic slowdown or different reasons. So all in all, again, we all need to wait and see what happens for the next 4 months. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhura. A big thank you to our entire panel. I will request Mr. Sandeep Bhura to present a memento to all our speakers. And we would like to start with our first speaker, Mr. Kanak Thakker. For the ones who are still seated, let me hear you clap. Thank you, Mr. Sebastian Andrew, for your time with us on the podium. I know we've had to hustle this entire panel a little. Sometimes it's just a part of the job. A big thank you to Mr. Jahid Nagarwala. Thank you, Mr. Mihir Parmar, sir, for your time on the podium with us, sir. Thank you, Rakesh Pal, sir. A big thank you to Mr. Saleh Nahdi. And Mr. Pietro Schizler. And while Mr. Bhura does the honors for Mr. Schizler, I would like to invite from CFNA, Madam Chen. Madam, inviting you to please join us on the stage to present a memento to Mr. Sandeep Bhura.